Hi and welcome to Scott's Inverts. Today's video is very different to what I normally do because I don't normally put a video out just before a show, advertising it or anything like that. So that's what we're doing today, as well as giving you a few tips for the show and a few updates of things that's been going on behind the scenes. So this Sunday is the Central Invertebrate Show. Coventry show. Now, as a lot of you know, I live in Coventry. So I'm not being biased at all when I say this is one of the best shows of the year, because it actually is one of the best shows of the year, and it's set in a rather large venue with free parking as well. I absolutely love the Coventry show, not because it's 15-minute drive from my house, but because the overall show itself is absolutely amazing. So if you are coming down, if you're coming down on a Saturday and staying in a hotel, drop me a PM, because we're all going to the Cocked Hat over in Binley. There's quite a few of us, as well as a lot of the sellers, and including the Invert Shows team. So Lee, Luke and Nick will also be at the Cocked Hat, and it's a real great place just to have informal chats with people, not necessarily about invertebrates, just to get to know one another before the big day itself. Now, on the actual day itself, there is free parking. There is a catering area as well, so there's like a little cafe. If you don't like their prices, or maybe you don't like what's on offer, Uber Eats and Just Eat will deliver to Sports Connection. We've done it in the past, and me and the wife will probably do it on Sunday as well as. Now, for the first hour and a half, I will be working on the Spiders table, mainly because Luke isn't available for Sunday. He is away on a stag do, so he's supporting one of his exceptionally good friends instead of coming along to the Invert Show. I mean, what's more important, Luke? Invert Show or your mates? No, I'm only pulling his leg. I'm not going to hold that against him at all. But yeah, we worked on the table for Spiders all the way back in May for British Tarantulas Society, and it was absolutely epic. So kind of almost the start of the year, if you like, we were there, and now coming towards the latter part of the year, we'll be going back to Spiders again. So for me, it's really, really cool that I get to do that. BTS, obviously working Spiders was really, really enjoyable. So I'm hoping that first hour and a half will also be fantastic at the Coventry show. I'll then be going off to finish off doing the rest of my video, which I'll put out on the Monday. And then, of course, filming the official one for the Invert Shows UK's YouTube channel as well. Now, a couple of little tips if you are thinking about coming on Sunday. One, it's free parking, so please don't worry about having to pay for parking or anything like that. But if you are coming, bring cash. Cash is king for absolute obvious reasons. You can get discounts when you're flashing the cash. Who knows what can happen? But the good thing about cash is if you take, let's say, 100 quid in your pocket and you leave your bank card at home, you've set yourself a budget, you've got that 100 quid. And what more importantly with cash is you can see it, you can feel it, you know what you've got left and you know what you're spending. I think for budget-wise, that really, really helps, especially if you're an ADHD like myself. It's better than taking a card, because I know if you're anything like me with card, it's you spend, and then you get a notification from the bank saying, Scott, what have you done? And then I get a notification from the enemy saying, what have you done? So to save yourself going over budget and spending money that should have gone on other things, take cash with you instead. Now, the actual show itself is one of the bigger shows, and it's really, really awesome. Especially, I mean, this time of year, we are going into those cooler months. So if you can find yourself a polystyrene box to bring along, to put any goodies that you purchase in there, because I know we've all got these flash cars with heating, but they can take a little while to heat up. So to save our inverts getting cold at all, we can get those polystyrene boxes. A lot of the kind of Asian food markets, you'll find those polystyrene boxes. You can pick them up for next to nothing. Before you come, make sure you've got camera batteries are charged, your phone's nice and charged up, and you bring power banks. And if you post anything to social media, and if you tag the Invert Shows UK page, they will then also reshare as well to try and help you along, give you a bit more exposure via their channel, which I think is absolutely awesome. But there is going to be some talks, and I highly suggest you pop along to those. Go check those out. They're always really informative, and I find them very, very interesting. If you do buy an impulse buy and it is one of the bigger spiders, or maybe it's a spider that you're unfamiliar with, if you come and find myself or Ling, we dot around all over the show, stop us and ask us for some advice if you're unsure. Ask us what enclosures you need, substrate, and if they're arboreal, fossorial, terrestrial, or a mixture of all three, and we'll help you out. In fact, a lot of the sellers will, and point you in the right directions for appropriate housing and exactly how you feed the animal, as well as, I think, the research side of it for a lot of us. I see it all the time on Facebook, and I really hate it because people always say, yeah, you should do your research, you should Google, you should do this, you should go on Arachnoboards, you should Google it, and you should read this book. If you're anything like me, I don't learn like that. My learning vibe is 1, videos, and 2, talking to other keepers that have more experience on whatever spider it is than myself. That's how I learn. I really find it enjoyable. It's where I take on the most amount of information as well. Yes, I do Google. Yes, I do go over to the BTS website, and yes, I go over to Arachnoboards as well. But for me to absorb the information 100%, I really do rely on 1, video content, and 2, talking to individuals that have been keeping whatever spider or invert it is that I'm looking at for a very long time and know more on that than what I do. And that's where I absorb it from. So make use of it. We're all there at the show. We've got mantis people, centipede people, scorpion, tarantula, true spider, the whole works, all at the Coventry show. So come along, come chat to one of us, and we'll sort you out. In fact, what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of the footage from last year's Coventry show up for you now. So things that have been going on in the background. Obviously a little while ago I explained in a video how my stepdad kind of went to hospital with a water infection, got diagnosed with delirium, and that ventured into dementia. It's been an exceptionally hard few months. That's why some of the dates where I normally put a video out, I haven't, because I've just been feeling the pressure a little bit. So my mum, bless her, relies heavily on myself for support. My older brother, he's a very emotional man, so he was very connected to my stepdad, it being his dad. So my mum's kind of relying on me for that side of it. It's been really difficult waiting for certain medications to kick in, and for those to be tried and for them not to work, and to see my stepdad get quite violent at times or be sleeping all the times as they're playing around with his medication. Now they've got it on point and we've got a happy dad at the care home, and by no means is he kind of got better from dementia. It's got worse, and we can see that, but it seems to be quite stable at the moment. So unfortunately we're making the best of a worse situation and just accepting it has got to a stable point at the moment, and we're enjoying what time we've got with him. As well as that's been going on, a lot of you have been messaging me and asking me about Tara, and I've kind of been batting off the questions left, right and centre. So the wife's had several, they're not heart attacks, but it's the only way you can describe them. So she's had several of these over the course of the last year. Some caused her a lot of pain and medical attention and stuff like that. But what's going on is she can be sitting down doing absolutely nothing and be relaxed and be completely fine. And her heart rate goes from sort of 70, 80 beats per minute right up to 182, 190. She get pains kind of along here when that's happening. So it's been a really worrying time. So we've been to doctors, propranolol, drugs and all the rest of it to try and control it. Nothing's worked so far. So she's had one of those things around her neck with all these like attachments coming off her all over her body to basically monitor her heart rate. She's a bit younger than me. She's 12 years younger, so she's only like, what, 32? So it's quite worrying for her as well. But what her wearing this thing around her neck for 48 hours showed was that, yes, it goes up and down. There's some bits and bobs going on. And what the doctors are doing now is basically reducing her off the propranolol because it's obviously not working. And they're going to try a different drug. She doesn't have to have the pacemaker fitted just yet, which is the thing that we were kind of worried about. Or I was worried. She's just seemed to be completely fine with it. Because it's only a tiny, tiny piece of, only a small plastic device that goes just under the skin. And that's about all it is. But me being me, I panic and worry about that. It's the wife, you know what I mean? But unless this starts happening kind of 5-6 times a week, they're not going to do it. They're quite happy with it. Well, we're not happy, but the doctors seem okay with the heart rate going up kind of 2 or 3 times a week. But if that increases, then that's when they're going to relook at the situation and go over it. We've also had trying to get EHCP plans put in place for both boys, because obviously Leo's diagnosed with autism and high functioning ADHD, and Noah, he's not diagnosed with anything yet. It's a long game with Noah, because with Leo it's dead straightforward. Because he had febrile, is that what you call it? The temperature seizure. So basically he had a seizure. Every time he had a seizure, his temperature would go up and he would look completely fine, apart from being absolutely red hot. But with Noah, that's not happening. And with Leo, when that happened, it meant the doctor's treatment. It means he got to see a paediatrician really, really fast. So in the background, we've been battling with schools and stuff to try and get things sorted. And it looks like the school have now made applications for Noah's assessments to go ahead. And they're putting more in place for both boys as well. So there's been quite a lot going on behind the scenes of recent. At the moment, I don't want to say it's a touch wood, it's not going too bad. Positively, I have, you might have noticed, well I hope so, lost a little bit of weight and put a little bit of weight on in other places. So back in May at the BTS, was it the BTS? No, the London show. Back at the London show, there was a picture of me. In fact, I'll put it up on screen for you now. And Ling took that picture, and I just looked and I looked at it, and I had just the biggest panic attack. I thought, Scott, you're going to have high blood pressure like tomorrow. You're going to have a heart attack tomorrow. You need to do something about this now. And I did. And I went about it the right way, but also the wrong way. So I reduced my calories. My calorie content is how I did it. I went from kind of, thousands of calories per day, because I used to just eat what I wanted, down to 1,400 to 1,500. Looking back, I should have dropped it down to 1,800 and just done it a little bit slower. But I wanted to get it done, and we've lost 3 stone. So I've come down from 17.5 stone to just over 14.5 stone. And on the back of that, I kind of thought, well, I'm 46, chose to have some children a bit later on in life. And then I was thinking, losing weight's not going to be enough, because losing weight is obviously good for the health, and changing my diet and all the rest of it. I thought, well, when Noah's running around, I mean, he's only 5 now, so 10 years time, I'm going to be 56, he'll be 15. How am I going to keep up with him? So we started going down the gym. And since May to now, we started going once a week, and then I went to twice, 3, and now we're going 5-6 times a week. So I go on a daily basis, apart from Sundays, but Saturday, we basically, me and my mate just turn up and just have more of a laugh on a Saturday. It's a very relaxed atmosphere. And after that, it's kind of contradictory to everything I've just said, but we normally go and have a full English breakfast somewhere, and I have Saturday nowadays as a cheat day. So I have my English breakfast in the morning, and then I'll just eat a little bit extra to what I normally do throughout the whole day. But it's normally like protein focused and kind of good foods anyway. So for me, I like my Saturdays. It means I can actually eat food. But that has been the positive thing over the last few months, as well as rebuilding the collection up. There is something that's going on in the background where I need people that, if you've got a business or you're a seller, or you sell things at shows maybe, there's something that's going on in the background that I can't mention on YouTube, and it certainly won't be an advertisement or being able to advertise what you sellers do. But trust me, it will go a long way by sending things to something. So if you guys, I know it's really cryptic and I apologise, but it's the only way I can do it and get a message out to you guys. If you could drop me a message saying that you'd like to be involved in whatever this secret mission is, that would be absolutely amazing. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I know I waffle on a hell of a lot. This Thursday's video is either going to be, I have a Scolopendria dehani that needs a rehouse, as well as there is a tailless whip. So we might do, or a vinegaroon, sorry. We might actually set the vinegaroon up properly in Thursday's video, and maybe do the centipede one this week, and release that video in a couple of weeks' time. Let me know which one do you fancy this Thursday? Do you want the vinegaroon or the centipede? Let me know down in those comments. Anyway, thank you for listening to me waffle on. I really do appreciate every single one of you. And if you got to the very end of this video, drop me a little heart down in the comments. It'd be fantastic to see who's supporting from the start all the way through to the end of these videos. Anyway, guys, as always, we shall see you again on the next one.